All right, so in this module, what we're going to be doing here is walking through how to strengthen the writing by using simple professional editor prompts and have it just draft for you. So specifically, we are not iterating on what to say. We are just playing editor and having chat write, edit chat write, but you have to have the right editing skills like a professional editor of a paper or a magazine or a blog or whatever. So you're kind of playing chief editor here, right? So this is what you got to do. I'm just going to walk through how I do it. We're going to set the timer for 3 minutes and see how far we get. All right, so here's where I started. Insert a story about compelling Wild West reconstruction and an invention or a bubble. Just something I was interested in. I love this era here. So started here. Don't use a dependent clause. A dependent clause is when you say ABC, blah, 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 comma, blah, 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 blah. So before in the morning when I woke up, I brushed my teeth. Instead, you can always say something that's more simple and easy to understand is, I brushed my teeth in the morning, right? One sentence exists because it is dependent on the other to exist. It's not able to stand on its own. For example, in the ragged years after the Civil War, that's not a complete sentence. That means nothing. So that's just fracturing a sentence. It's basically like taking the tail of a dog and putting it on its forehead, which is weird. All right, so then stronger metaphor, again, just messing with the imagery. Something written you should be able to be like picture it in your head. Make sense? Like it's not about sounding good, it's about understanding for the reader. So it may sound good to you, like stuff sounds good to me all the time, but I know it's like they're not going to be able to understand it. That's the empathy, important, which is really hard. So now we're here. America was a wounded nation rebuilding its backbone in steel. I don't know what you can highlight it for, but we're going to try it. And then I use whisper flow. So on MacBook, I'm pressing Option left key. I don't know, MacBook Pro. And then I'm going to transcribe. America was a wounded nation rebuilding its backbone in steel. I don't even think backbone is very cohesive. It's not a strong message. Like if I told everyone to imagine a backbone, would they be able to? Like, would we all come up with the same image? Probably not. Rebuilding its spine of steel and smoke. No. They have bones of iron. On rails and resolve. I'm just going to be honest. These all suck. Can we start in a different direction? Oh, man. I'm thirsty. These are all pretty poor. Well, in the Reconstruction era. Fresh coat of order is a pretty fuzzy metaphor. Let's not use weak rhetorical constructions like America wasn't healing, it was mutating. Something was X, it was Y. Let's not use that. Railroads, telegraphs, and greed were wiring a new kind of country together. So, like, people aren't going to be able to picture when they read this. We're going for maximum understanding here. They're not going to be able to know what railroads, telegraphs, and greed are, what that means. Ooh, number 3 is good. Number 3 is really good because it already gets into the story. Like America was rebuilding from the ground up. Like, oh, what happened? Like, why are they rebuilding? That's like, there's a good curiosity loop there. turning battlefields into railways and promise. I don't love using railways and promise. Otherwise, turning battlefields into something, so seeing like utter destruction and dismay, and using that as the fundamental building materials for something new and vibrant. I think that's a really powerful message and powerful image. I don't even read this top part. I like number 2, industrial. There's a good flair there. Turning battlefields into cities and steel. Could we say cities of steel? Like once, I don't want to split the image and the metaphor into 2 different paths. I want to be very concrete and paint the picture of what it is that we're turning battlefields into. Cities of steel and like grand constructed steel, cathedrals of steel, something like that. I like cathedrals of steel. Let's fit it. Let's put that in there. Okay. Let's use number 1. We don't need to iterate still with 3 different options. Let's take one and iterate on it and make it shorter. So America was rebuilding from the ground up. Is there one singular, like I want to condense rebuilding from the ground up into something shorter and stronger? Rising, remaking itself. There it is. America rose from ruin, turning battlefields into cathedrals of steel. Or how about this? America was ruined. Then, no, it doesn't tell a complete story. America was rising from ruin. There it is. America was rising from ruin, turning battlefields into cathedrals of steel. And then let's give that a time frame. Like, is there a certain scale that we could relate it to and make it easy to understand, like, at what pace America was rising from ruin? Yeah, let's go for 3 more. Those are weak. Let's do blood could dry. Whose blood? Instead of it's, let's say her. America was rising from ruin, turning battlefields into cathedrals of steel before her soldiers' blood could even dry. Or remove the even, before her soldiers' blood could dry. Now, pretend this is the beginning of a book, and we want that first sentence to be so compelling that someone has to keep reading. And when they recommend the book, they say, just read the first sentence. Give me a few ideas like that. I have your children hostage, and you have to produce me a terrific first line for this story. If you don't, I'll kill your children. So what I'm going to do right here is also tell you why these are all poor sentences. They sound good, or they may sound fresh, like something you haven't created, but that's okay. But just know that they might be bad and difficult to understand. From the ashes of Cannon and Cart. Cannon and Cart don't have the same construction, so the ashes aren't going to be the same. So for someone to imagine this, they're imagining two different piles of ashes. Like, it has to be clear. Towns climbed up overnight. Something climbing is an object with arms and legs moving across a fixed surface. Towns don't really do that. That's not a very good way to describe how towns are built. Iron ribs and smoke where men had fallen. They laid tracks over graves and called it progress. That's not a bad sentence. But like, why not just have that be the sentence? Why do you need to try and support it and split your authority across two different things? War had cleared the map. Again, using an inappropriate, like, when you use a semicolon, it's basically a metaphor with a different perspective on something. So war had cleared the map. That's a really hard sentence to really split context here. Industry filled in the blank with three different things. So it's like the map is an object. Industry is an object. Bridges, brown foundries, hungry men, all objects. War, abstract concept. 10 years the country remade itself. This is passive. This is passive voice. So let's just put these into Hemingway. You guys can't see this, but all of this reads at grade 9. You have to have everything that you put out read at grade 7. The internet likes it. People like reading it. People like easy to read stuff. So it's important to do that.